Hi, I'm John Paul of the blogpaymentor.com. I hope you are doing great today. In this video, I provide you with an overview of the messages exchange in the SEPA Credit Transfer scheme. When you work on a project, having this big picture in mind helps a lot to understand the scope and what you are doing. We talk about the SCT documents where you find the messages. The four-corner model of the SEPA Credit Transfer will be considered, and this will allow us to clearly distinguish the spaces where the messages are exchanged. We will then list all the messages provided in the SCT implementation guidelines. Many people stop here, and that's already good, but as we will see, it's not sufficient. There are other messages not mentioned in the SCT implementation guidelines. These messages are used for the customer reporting and provided in a specific document that I will reveal to you. So stay tuned. There are three main SCT scheme documents: the rulebook and the implementation guidelines. The scheme rules are described in the rulebook, and the messages exchanged in the scheme are defined and presented in the implementation guidelines. It is important to understand that the implementation guidelines themselves are based on the standard ISO 20022. We will get back to that crucial point in future videos. If you are familiar with my channel, you should be familiar with this picture as well. It is the four-corner model of the SEPA Credit Transfer. Here, we see the two different spaces where messages are exchanged: the customer-to-bank space and the interbank space. I made a video recently to explain what customer-to-bank space and interbank spaces are. Check it out if you want to learn more about this topic. Implementation guidelines documents are split in two documents according to the two spaces. We have the customer-to-bank implementation guidelines and the interbank implementation guidelines. The customer-to-bank implementation guidelines documents contains the messages sent from customer to bank and also the messages sent from bank to customers. The interbank implementation guidelines documents contain the messages exchanged between banks or between banks and clearing systems. Let's go online and search for these documents. It's interesting to see how we can find them. So I will open my browser. Let's search for SEPA Credit Transfer Implementation Guidelines. We have it here. Great. So let's click on the link. When we scroll down, here we find the documents. First, we see the rule book, the one that is currently in effect. Then below, we have the list of the implementation guidelines. The customer-to-bank implementation guidelines come first, and there is only one document, the version 1.0. For the interbank implementation guidelines, there are many versions. For each version, we see as from when it was or will be applicable. For our purpose, we will take the version 1.0, applicable as from 19 November 2017. It does not matter that much for now. We just want to list all the messages available in these documents. To download each document, you just need to follow the links. So let's do it, for example, for the customer to bank implementation guidelines. If I click on the link, I land on a page where I see I can download the PDF document. I have done that for all the documents that we will look at, and here are they. I came out with this overview. We have here the message exchange between the originator and the originator bank, and the message exchange between the banks. So let's take the customer to bank implementation guidelines, for example. So this is the customer to bank implementation guidelines. In the table of contents, we find the messages. The table of content, that's enough. So we have here the pane 1 message, and we see it's a customer to bank message. So the pane 1 is sent from the customer to the bank. And we have the pane 2 version 3 that is sent from bank to customer. So it is the bank that sent this message to its customer. If we go to the interbank implementation guidelines, there as well, we can look at the table of contents. We see 5 messages: the PAX 8, the PAX 4, the PAX 2, the CAMP 56, and the CAMP 29. With all that, I came out with this picture where we have the overview. Actually, if you count, you will find that I have 6 arrows, but one message appears twice. It is this message here, the PAX 4. The PAX 4 appears as a return message or as a positive response to a recall. The direction of the message is important because receiving a message or sending a message are completely different things. We'll talk more about message directions in future videos. As you can see, I have inserted a small box between originator bank and beneficiary bank. It is the CSM, the clearing system. The CSM can reject a message. In fact, any message if the checks performed by the CSM are not successful. In that case, it sends a PAX 2 to the sender. In the EPC Interbank Implementation Guidelines, almost nothing is said about the CSM messages, but they play a crucial role and have a huge impact in the interbank space. The CSMs require banks to send and receive additional messages found in their own specifications documents, obviously because the SCT scheme's messages only are not enough to fulfill their needs. Anyway, for now, let's stick to messages available in the EPC documents. With this overview, we made a good progress, but we are not there yet. Let's move to the next slide. Here, I have added customer reporting messages. The customer reporting messages are found in this document: Recommendation on Customer Reporting, SCT and SDD. To find that document, we go also to the EPC website, and we can make a search in the document library. Yes, Customer Reporting, SCT. If we make a search, so that's the result of the search, and we find it here. So I have downloaded the document, and we have the messages that banks send to customers as reporting: the CAMP 52, the CAMP 53, and the CAMP 54. All these messages move in the same direction, from the bank to the customer. That is why they are called customer reporting messages. Let's go back to the slide. These messages, as you can see here, can be sent either by the originator bank to its customer or by the beneficiary bank to its customer. With this, we have the complete overview of the messages mentioned in the EPC documents. As I said, having this overview is important to understand the scope of a project and to understand what you are really doing on a project. So it is good to make this exercise no matter which type of scheme you are working on. Well, I hope you found this useful. That's the end of this presentation. It was a bit long, but I think it's important to go through that. From next week on, I will start a series of videos where we look at each individual message. If you have any question, just post a comment below the video. If you found the presentation useful, you can like the video and subscribe to the channel. You can also go to pementor.com and subscribe to the newsletter to receive regular updates about articles and video. Take care and see you soon on the channel.